beware of false advertising in the film industry. I will tell you a little horror story that ended actually very badly for a lot of people. One of my students was a young lady in her late 20s who was a comedian, great sense of humor. She had been studying with me not for too long, for about 3 or 4 months, and she was very anxious, as all of you young people are, to become a star overnight. One time she comes back and she tells me that she has read in a newspaper that they were casting a feature, and it was opened up to about 300 people. It was a non-union film, but they would pay something, and they certainly would pay for the location and the food and the lodging. So I asked to read the article, and I thought, just be aware that it may be a scam. But she was very enthusiastic. She went to the audition, and there were about 350 people. And lo and behold, she got a job. She got a small job, but it wasn't a feature, and she was going to go on location for a couple of weeks. So she got a script, and 50 people got cast in the show. And the director and producer asked them to come back several days later to have a round-the-table reading, and several times more, maybe twice a week, so that when they would go on location, they would be totally ready, and the director would have just to shoot. It sounded strange to me, but I could not dissuade her, and I thought, well, go ahead and see what happened. A week before they were supposed to go on location. Now, understand that that company was located on a major studio lot. That's very important. So I was less suspicious. So about a week before they are supposed to go on location, all the actors arrive for their rehearsal, and they see the director with a long face, the producer with a long face, the secretary with a long face, and somebody asked, what's wrong? And the producer said, well, we didn't get all the money that we were supposed to have. The financing fell through. We have some of it, but we don't have enough for the rental of the trucks and the rental of the equipment. And so the young actor who had been cast said, well, what if we all chipped in, you know? He said, I'm sure my parents can give $10,000. Would that help you? So the producer and director said, well, of course, anything would help. So they all started to talk around that young man, and before you knew it, everybody had called their father, their mother, their aunt, their uncle, their friends, their husband, their wives, taken out their savings, and by Thursday night or Friday night, just before going on location, all the money that they could gather was there. So they had one last rehearsal, they signed their contract, and were supposed to report to the studio on Monday morning, 6:30. Monday morning, 6:30, everybody gets there, and the guard at the studio refused to let them in. So they start clamoring, why? We've been rehearsing for a month. And the guard said, but the offices have only been rented for 1 month, and the month was off on Friday. So they started to talk among themselves, and they thought, my God, could it be a scam? Could it be? And then they realized that there was one person missing in the group. The young actor who supposedly had been cast in one of the leads, and who had suggested that his parents would bring $10,000. They called the police. The police arrived. They were told. And the police informed the young people, all those eager beaver wanting to be stars yesterday, that the scam had been taking place in Seattle, in St. Louis, and in Houston. And it probably would take place in another big town. So be aware, it may be in your town next.